All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Run for Covers. This is the video series where I talk about those cover runs, those variants that just run across multiple titles, where they have a theme that just runs, throughout a common thread going across all of them. Last week I did something a little different when I did that Deadly Class B cover thing, so it really wasn't the same as my normal Run for Covers kind of topic, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that Deadly Class peek at all the B covers, because there really are some good ones, and some of them are still cheap, and I kind of dig them. But that all being said, I got an odd selection this week and a shorter list. There's only 10 in this little batch that I have for you to check out. So hopefully you enjoy that. But let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Make sure you're checking out the live shows on Wednesdays and on Sundays here on Rennavision. And keep telling your friends we can keep growing this channel and keep doing more fun stuff and have some giveaways and just have a good time talking comics and pop culture and Star Wars and stuff. Because I don't know, 2022 is already looking pretty fun, and I'm expecting a fun year ahead, and hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves too. And with that, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I'll be back with this week's selection of books. All right, so as I teased there in the open, we have a smaller selection of books this week. There's only going to be 10 in this little batch, and we are going to be going back to Marvel, as it is my imprint of choice, I guess you would say. And I'm going to be talking about these 1 minute later variants. These are 1 in 15 variants from, I think it was like 2015, I think was the year these came out. And it was mostly 1 month. I think it was like in the spring. It was like March or April, where most of them came out, or maybe it was April, May. Somewhere in that range. But 2015, these 1 minute later covers, with the whole idea being these covers were based off of what happened a minute after these other classic covers throughout Marvel's history. So it's an interesting concept, and I wish they would actually come back to it, but I don't know. Who knows if they ever will? Again, they only did 10 as part of this run, and a lot of these are Avengers titles, and not all of them are the greatest choices that I would have picked personally for being 1 minute later. So that's what I kind of hope we would get something else like again down the line. Like I want some more 1 minute later. Give me Hulk 181 1 minute later. I think that would be kind of fun to see. Give me Silver Surfer 4, Thor versus Silver Surfer 1 minute later. But that all being said, let's go through what they did give us back in 2015, starting with our first book, which is this all new Captain America #6. Again, these are variants. These are all 1 in 15s, so they're not super high incentives. And honestly, all of these are very cheap for the most part. I mean, a lot of these are cover price or they're all under ratio, but basically, for the most part. So this is a very cheap run to collect. If you wanted to collect this run of variants, it shouldn't cost you a ton of money. And who knows if it'll ever get popular down the line. But like I said, I kind of hope they come back to this concept because I do like the concept. I just don't know if I like all of the choices that they made here, including this one, which it's a decent enough cover. You see Captain America getting attacked by all the Avengers, and this is supposedly 1 minute later, and they even show you on the cover of 1 minute later what cover they're, I don't want to say, I guess it's an homage, but it's redone to be a slightly later into the cover, into the battle, and that is 1 minute after, I guess, the cover to Captain America and Falcon #154, which you can see Cap running right at us with the Avengers chasing him down, telling him stop him, but I don't know. It's not bad, but this wouldn't have been, like I said, my choice of a classic cover to do a minute later on, personally. But this is what they decided to go with, so I'm not going to fault them for it. Decent enough. I just don't understand how this actually comes into play. I guess they surround him at some point a minute later because they're behind him chasing him, but now all of a sudden he's surrounded in this same kind of running motion. But hey, it is what it is. 1 minute later, let's see what this one does. As I said, these are not very pricey. What's available right now? There's copies for $4 to $10. So definitely under ratio, basically starting around cover, and maybe it costs you a little bit more, but not a ton. And if you want to see what actually sold on this, well, there are none. No recent sales on this one. Because like I said, this is a run that not a lot of people are looking at. It's not highly sought after. It's, like I said, it's a lower end ratio. It's just an odd concept, but I think it's kind of fun, and it is a set that you can probably complete pretty easily if you decide to put your mind to it. Because like I said, it's only 10. But let's move on then. Let's not linger and not complain about not what I would have chosen, not my picks, and let's just go with what they did pick. And the next book that they did pick is Amazing Spider-Man number 17. This variant, 1 minute later, following this Avengers number 11 cover, classic Avengers cover, number 11, co-starring Spider-Man. Enough said. So there it is. You have the Avengers there all tied up in Spidey's web, and then I guess they break out. 1 minute later, they all break out and they are attacking our Spider-Man again. Not too bad. Again, might not have been my first choice, but I can respect this choice. Like I said, it's classic issue of Avengers. All right, not too bad. But let's see what this one does. Spider-Man books usually sell for a little bit of a premium when you're talking about variants, but I don't think this one does. $4 to $8 is what the asking price is on this. So not all Spider-Man variants sell for a lot, just sometimes. And there are copies to be had because again, these are 1 in 15s. A lot of these titles, like Amazing Spider-Man, have a decent print run, so there's going to be plenty of them out there. And if I'm not mistaken, I might cover the other variant theme that was running at the same time as this 1 minute later. I don't know why they run like multiple themes on top of each other, but they did a What the Duck, Howard the Duck run as well. I think on 1 in 10s. Might do that one of these upcoming weeks because that's kind of a fun cover run too. A lot of fun homages in that with Howard the Duck mixed in. But that all being said, moving on to what's actually sold for this one. You see, it sells for as low as $1.50 or as high as $4.79. So this is, again, cover price or less. You might even be able to find these in those cheap boxes and dollar bins mixed in because the store might not notice that this is a variant that's worth anything. They might even not remember that it was an incentive variant at all. That was 1 in 15 copies. So something to keep an eye out for. Again, this is a cheap run you could probably fill out if you want to go hunt something like this. I just thought it would be a fun little one to kind of throw out there this week. Something short, something sweet to just kind of tuck this in there because I do have my wish list going out as well for 2022. So I'm going to try to double drop videos today on Monday. So hopefully you watch both and enjoy both. And with that, let's move on to book 3, which is Ultron Forever, Avengers number 1. This variant is following up on this classic Avengers cover, Avengers 202. Pretty cool Ultron cover. You can see again, Avengers coming through, getting ready to attack Ultron, who's attacking Wasp. And a minute later, they're in the throes of the battle. Like they're right there. All right, pretty cool. What's this one do? Well, a little pricier, 13 to 17. So it's right in that ratio range with what's available right now. Okay. But what's sold? There's none. So we don't have a recent history of sales. So it's still, again, ratio or less. Can't say that's too terrible of a price for something like this. I think there's multiple variants on this book as well. So keep an eye out for those, too, because they're pretty cool. But if you want the 1 minute laters, it'll run you 13 to 17 bucks if you want to go shopping right now for one. Now, the next one's probably my favorite of this bunch because this is what I'm talking about. When I was talking about Silver Surfer 4 and when I was talking about like Hulk 181, I want 1 minute later on like a real classic cover. Not just somebody else, not an artist's favorite. I mean, I get it. Avengers 202 could have been somebody's favorite cover growing up. It just wasn't mine, so that's why I wouldn't have picked it. If you do something like that, I'm probably going to pick like 1 minute later on Silver Surfer 34 or 35 just for fun because those were classic covers to me when I was first starting out in collecting. But going back to old school classics, let's go to this one. This Deadpool 45, which is 1 minute later, and it's also works in Deadpool, jumping in, and it's obviously, Avengers 1. So super classic cover. Deadpool worked in. 1 minute later, apparently Deadpool, edges his way into the battle. He's got this. So just a fun little cover. Definitely a fun little take. And like I said, it is a classic. So this is more something I would expect out of a run if they were to come back to this idea, which, like I said, I hope they do. Now, even though this is a pretty cool one, it's still not that expensive. It is my favorite, but 13 to 25. Now we're talking about some asking ratio and up, but it's still not awful. I'm not with some of the other runs we've gone through where there are outliers that are a couple $100 or 150 or things like that, where some of those really hard to find parts of those runs make them hard to complete. I think this is really the top of the heap. So this is the hardest and most expensive one to get. And there are copies out there. You're going to pay for them if you want. And you can see they do sell because recently sold copies. It could sell for cheap too. I mean, look, $1.48, 2 bids, and $5 with 1 bid. So there are cheap copies that do show up, and you can still get them for cheap, despite the asking prices available today. As I go through, was going through the ranks on the computer. There are copies that pop up every now and then that are cheaper. So you just gotta be patient, keep your eye out, and just wait for your moment. Just wait for your moment. Just hold. With that, moving on to our next book, Fantastic Four, 645. Pretty cool cover. Makes me think of Donkey Kong for some reason. Maybe it's just the Hulk on top and then climbing up. I don't know. It feels like a Donkey Kong cover to me, but it is actually 1 minute following Fantastic Four number 26. Again, classic cover. Cool. I'm fine with this. Avengers take over. You got the Thing. You got the Hulk. Makes sense. 1 minute later, they all get up a little bit higher. They all get there, to the top fighting the Hulk. So makes sense. Not a bad choice here. And this is one that also isn't too bad. I mean, available copies, 10 to 15. So under ratio to ratio, thereabouts right now. And if you want to see what it sold for recently, well, now you're talking about 10 to 15. So there you go. Under to just about ratio. All right, pretty standard price. Fantastic Four, classic title. Nice. All right. Not going to keep you. Let's move it on. Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy number 26. You got Star-Lord there, and you got the Avengers fighting, and this is following up on Avengers 167. Behold, the Guardians of the Galaxy. So you got these two teams facing off head to head. You got Beast flying in there on the original, and you can see he's now down at the bottom in the throes of a fight with Charlie 27 and the original Guardians of the Galaxy team from the comics, not the more familiar movie version that you're probably looking for. This is the old school team with Starhawk and Yondu and what's that dude's name? I can't remember the Matrix something. I don't know. Anyway. Old school original Guardians team facing off against the Avengers 1 minute later. Not a bad choice, and it makes sense to put this on a Guardians title. Like it matches up pretty well. With that said, what does this 1 in 15 go for? As cheap as $2 you can get one, up to 11. So again, definitely under ratio. I mean, $2. You can go buy one right now for $2 online. You don't even have to go digging in a cheap box. It's cheap already online if you want one. As I said, not a hard one to put together. I mean, I might even consider it. I might even consider just do it and just buy all 10 and see, price average that. I probably will pay under $10 for all of them, and they're all 1 in 15s. It's not a terrible thing to do, but we'll see. I'm in no rush. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. If you're interested, this is one you could do pretty easily, I think. And recently sold copies. Well, you can see one sold end of December 20th, $2.35. Buy it now. So cheap copies are out there, and they can sell too. I mean, it's not bad. Definitely not bad. Up next, SHIELD. Strategic Hazard Intervention Enforcement Logistics Division. SHIELD number 5. This variant. Pretty cool, right? I do like this. Is Lionel Francis Yu, I believe. I do like his cover art. Fun little take on the Avengers. You can hear we have Avengers 94 as the inspiration, where we have the Mandroids coming to attack our Avengers squad. They're all pointing, they're getting ready for battle, and then a minute later, here we are in the midst of the battle. Not a bad choice, not bad execution. Pretty cool on this one. Available copies for this are $5 to $10. So not bad at all. 1 in 15s across the board for all of these. So that kind of price ain't bad. And no copies have sold recently. So this is not one that has been moving a lot on the market, not in high demand. So you might even get it for cheaper than those asking prices. Hey, who knows? Let's take us to our next book, which is Thor number 7. Thor number 7. This follows up a minute later after Avengers number 70, where we have the Squadron Sinister coming through, attacking our team of Avengers. Pretty cool. Again, it's like an introduction of another team battle, another face-off of some kind. In this case, we have Squadron Sinister. Why they decided to put this on the Thor issue, I don't know. This is where I get kind of thrown a little bit, where it's not a perfect match of like content and cover choice. So it's just like, okay, it is what it is. But Thor number 7 does feature this 1 minute later. Looks like as we get in the battle, they kind of mix positions, kind of flip flop a little bit. Things get mixed and twisted, and the battle just begins. Well, not terrible, as I said, but probably not my favorite of the bunch. And this one is also not too bad. Anywhere from like $5, $7, $11, all under ratio. Easy one to get. Multiple copies out there if you're shopping, so you got options. And if you want to see what it sells for, well, you can see $7. January 7th, one sold. Buy it now. $7 with $4 shipping, so $11 with a little bit of tax. Ain't terrible. All of that is still under ratio after tax and shipping. Still an under ratio buy. Just saying. So we're going to take it to our final two, I think. I think we got two more. Our first being Uncanny Avengers number 4. This also is potential for one of my favorites of the bunch because, again, I'm a Silver Surfer fan. I've mentioned it a few times. He is one of my favorite characters. He's one of the characters that got me into collecting comics back at the late 80s, as it was when I was a kid. And I made that transition from sports cards to comics basically off of picking up those random Silver Surfer issues. Like, that's kind of what did it. I mean, that coupled with Jim Lee X-Men is really what got me into it. But Surfer on this cover, this is 1 minute later on Uncanny Avengers 4. This 1 of 15 variant is following up in this gorgeous red cover battle. Avengers 116, Surfer versus Vision. You got Wanda there down below, so you got Avenger versus Defender. Pretty cool. And yeah, they're not giving Surfer too much respect in this battle. They've got a Vision a minute later already got his hand, phasing through him. But he does have Wanda's help. So I guess, it's 2-on-1. It's not fair, but still. I still would hope for a little bit more of a fight being put up by my, my buddy Surfer. So, hey, whatever you're going to do. What are you going to do, right? So this one is a pretty cool cover, though. Still well drawn, well executed. $6 to $7 are copies out there right now. So that's half a ratio. Because like I said, all 1 in 15s. And if you want to see what this actually sells for, we did have one sale January 8th recently. It's $5. Like an example. When I have these, there might be multiple sales over the last few months, but I'm just trying to give you like a recent example. Just give you a ballpark idea so you can kind of guess what the prices are right now, what people are paying. If you were interested in doing it yourself, like I said, you're interested in buying one, you can see copies, $6, $7. Copy bought a few days ago for $5. So what do you want to do? Are you willing to pay a 6 or 7 when somebody paid 5 not too long ago? Or do you want to wait? These are the calls you get to make. And that's why I like to do these. I'm just sharing these covers, sharing this information, trying to make more people aware of some fun books that are out there, give you some pricing information, then you make your own decision on what you want to do for your own collection. And with that, PSA done again. We got one more, which is Uncanny Humans, issue 0. Actually 000 for whatever reason. I don't know why we need 3 zeros, but Uncanny Humans 000. This 1 in 15 incentive is 1 minute later following Avengers 127. The Fantastic Four, the Inhumans, the Avengers, everybody flying in. And then Black Bolt takes them all down. That's the implication here. That a minute later, that's all it took. 1 minute into this fight, Black Bolt does his whisper. I mean, granted, it looks like a full-on scream, and I don't know how his teammates are standing, but there it is. 1 minute later for this cover. What does this one do? Well, out there right now, there's a copy for as cheap as $3 to $10. So all, again, undercover, under ratio. There's cheap copies to be had. Broken record when I keep saying that this is an easy one to do. Recently sold. You can see an example sold for $3 back in mid-December. So there it is. Like I said, this is an easy one. This was a cheap run, only 10 issues, a short one, by and large, one that can be done relatively simply. If you just want to even go online and buy them all outright, you'll still probably do all right. But if you want to go hunt, you can probably find them in shops cheap as well. And hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you found these interesting. And let me know if you have this run. If you do, share it. Tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see it. Thanks for stopping by and checking in. Hopefully you're enjoying the content and everything else that we're doing here on Rennavision. Make sure you're checking out the live shows on Wednesdays and Sundays. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And yeah, I'll be back with some more content, including a new Chasing Ghosts coming up on Tuesday. So with that, I will see you guys later.